Welcome back to Sawtooth Tactical. You want to hear something totally ridiculous? I've got an article right here. The city of Chicago is suing Glock. Glock for the proliferation of Glock switches. You probably already know what these are, but if you don't, they are illegal auto sears that are pretty dang easy if you wanted to install it in your, honestly, Gen 1 through 5 Glock pistol. And again, they're illegal. That's the whole point. So how is Glock at fault in this? So in today's episode of totally blaming the wrong entity for problems that you kind of created, the city of Chicago is suing Glock over Glock switches. Pistol auto sears, which they say can make a Glock fire over 1,200 rounds per minute. That sounds super scary, right? Well, you probably have to reload about every 15 to 17, 18 rounds. This is a 19 round mag. So people that don't know anything about guns hear 1,200 rounds per minute, but you'd have to be really fast at reloading to get 1,200 rounds per minute out. But that is not the point. The point is that instead of taking responsibility for bad policies that have led to your city having a major violence problem, you're suing a gun manufacturer that doesn't manufacture or endorse the product that you are alleging is causing so much problems. So in this article here, they go on to say the city of Chicago has filed a lawsuit against Glock Incorporated, blaming the gun maker for facilitating the manufacturing of illegal machine guns being used on the crime-ridden streets of the Windy City. Well, why are they crime-ridden streets? So, I live in Idaho. Everybody here has guns, but we don't have crime-ridden streets. Now, why is that? There's a lot of reasons, but whether it's correlation or causation, a lot of these big cities that have such a problem with violent crime seem to be Democrat-run cities. Cities where they don't prosecute people for crimes, where they have no cash bail and they just let people out after committing violent crimes. So people that are criminals don't really have any reason to not be criminals. So you can get these Glock switches. I'm not going to tell you where, but you can get them online. They're manufactured in China. People actually make them with 3D printers at home, and they are very simple. But so is an illegal drop-in auto sear for an AR-15. If you understand how the mechanics of firearms work, it's not that difficult to basically disconnect your disconnector. I want to take a quick minute to talk about this video's sponsor, which is Aura. And the reason why is because it's a product that I actually do believe in. Now that I've been using it for a little while, it's actually improved my life. I get a lot less spam calls than I used to get, which is kind of huge. I use my phone for work, and so I have to answer numbers that I don't recognize, and it's nice to not be getting those spam calls all the time anymore. The other thing is I had my bank account hacked 3 times last year, and I had to get new debit cards at least twice. And then I had to, get all of my bills that were automatically paid fixed and switched over to the new cards. Huge hassle. And Aura takes care of all that stuff so you don't end up having to deal with those kinds of problems anymore. They scour the internet and they find wherever your information is being sold to scammers and spammers and anybody else that wants to use your information to sell your information, and they submit opt-out requests on your behalf, which helps get rid of all that stuff so you don't have to deal with that anymore. And ever since I've been using it, I actually have noticed a big difference. And in fact, I get alerts from Aura when they find where my information has been leaked, and then they fix that for me, and that's been huge. And they do a lot of other things too. They have VPN, password management, parental controls, all kinds of stuff, and you get it at a very low price, a lot less than you would pay if you bought all of those things individually. And it helps the channel. With YouTube demonetizing pretty much all of my videos now, if you sign up for Aura, it helps me grow the channel and that is greatly appreciated. So please check out Aura. Get 2 weeks for free if you use my link, aura.com/sawtooth-tactical. I'd really appreciate it. I respect my privacy and I respect yours. In a very short and sweet way to explain how these auto sears work, the plastic back plate on your slide comes out very easily. And one of these things slides in. And it generally has a toggle switch on it. And what that does is it puts a little pointy thing in there where your cruciform and your trigger bar is, and it pushes that down every time your slide goes back into battery. This is the original Glock patent right here. You can see the trigger bar. Well, when you pull the trigger, this bar goes down and it lets the striker go forward. Well, if you have something that pushes that bar down every time you go into battery, that striker will just continue to go forward until you either let off the trigger or run out of ammo. And that's what all these things do. It's literally the simplest thing in the world. But it's not really Glock's fault. Glock makes a pistol. They've made it for a long time. The design has not changed much from Gen 1 all the way up to Gen 5. And one of the best things about Glock is how simple it is. And that's part of why it's so reliable. There are less parts in this pistol than in most other handgun models, handgun designs. They're very simple. And the city of Chicago wants to sue Glock because they haven't changed their simple, effective, proven, and reliable design to make it so that people can't install these Glock auto sears, these Glock switches. So this is what the city of Chicago has been saying. At least this is what the lawsuit alleges here. Glock knows that it takes little effort to convert its pistols into illegal machine guns, and that criminals frequently do so, the lawsuit alleges. Glock also knows it could fix the problem, but has chosen not to, putting profits over public safety and violating the law. Well, I'm not so sure about that. So, profits over public safety, if I lived in Chicago and I knew that there was criminals out there that weren't getting prosecuted for violent crime and basically had free reign of the city with Glocks, with illegal Glock switches on them, I would sure want to carry a Glock myself to keep myself and my family safe. Apparently, over 1,100 Glocks with switches have been recovered by the Chicago Police Department through the beginning of 2021 through December of 2023. That is a lot of illegal auto sears. But now think about this. Think about if you or me put in an illegal drop-in auto sear in our AR or a Glock switch on our Glock. How quick would the ATF be at our door to put us in federal prison for the next 10 years and fine us $250,000? But yet, they don't really seem to do much to go after these in Chicago. I mean, if people were afraid of the consequences of using something like that, they wouldn't use it. Instead, people are all over Instagram, whatever, all these social media, showing off their Glocks with switches, spraying bullets up into the air. Obviously, they're not that worried about getting caught with them, and maybe that's the problem, and not the manufacturer of a pretty safe pistol, as far as pistols go. The city claimed that Glock was aiding and abetting the violation of federal and state law prohibiting the possession of machine guns, calling the manufacturer negligent. Well, Glock doesn't make machine guns. Well, okay. Glock does not make machine guns for sale to the average consumer. They make a semi-automatic handgun. Pull the trigger, 1 round fires, slide resets, trigger resets, pull the trigger, another round fires. This is not a machine gun, semi-automatic. Just like every other Glock that you can go buy in the store. Glock is not responsible for what kind of criminal activity people decide to do with their products. That's like making Ford responsible for people driving Fords drunk and crashing them into people, killing people. That's not Ford's problem or their fault. Same thing with Glock here. It's just another Another example of woke left cities going after gun manufacturers, blaming an inanimate object instead of, one, the criminals, the people that are committing these crimes, the people that are using illegal auto sears, or the policies that have created a situation where people feel like they can get away with using illegal auto sears all over the city. Yeah. So Mayor Brandon Johnson, of course, blamed guns for plaguing our communities with gun violence. Not people, not criminals. He blames guns because that makes a whole lot of logical sense, right? And that they said that they want to hold Glock accountable for putting profits over public safety. Well, I think that's absolutely ridiculous. And honestly, the NFA shouldn't even be in place. And you and me and everyone else should be able to own full autos. Now, do I think that a Glock with a Glock switch really it makes a whole lot of sense for self-defense? Not really. You're going to be much more effective probably with semi-auto, being able to control recoil and put rounds on target. Most of these criminals that are using these things are, for one, extremely irresponsible. They don't care where the rounds go and what kind of innocent people get hurt by them. But most of us wouldn't even use these things because they are not effective. They might be really fun at the range, and we should have the right to be able to do that if we want. But also, if the criminals are going to have something, well, law-abiding citizens should be able to have the same kind of firepower to protect themselves from said criminals. But yet, they want to sue the manufacturer of the tool that you could use to protect yourself from those criminals. They want to keep Glock from being able to sell their tools in Chicago or the state of Illinois, and they're going after unspecified damages, which I'm sure is some ridiculous amount of millions of dollars. Glock doesn't make these auto sears. Glock makes a semi-automatic, completely legal in all 50 states handgun, but somehow they're the ones that are responsible for what criminals do with their product. That's pretty crazy. Have you ever heard of a coat hanger? Because if you want to be a criminal, you can make a lot of semi-automatic firearms fully automatic if you want. But you know what? Most of us don't do that because we like being free and not being felons, not being locked up in prison or fined $250,000. And we'd like to keep our rights to own, keep and bear arms, right? Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comments. Because I see these things. I literally came across this on my computer at work earlier today, and I had to print it out and make a video. It's just so crazy to me that these people that run these liberal run cities, to be perfectly honest, how do they not see that it's their policies that are causing these problems and not a tool that's been around for a really long time? It seems to only be in the last few years that these Glock switches have become so prolific and become such a problem, and specifically in Chicago, but in other big, again, left-run cities in America. There's kind of a common theme here, and it's not the Glocks, because there are a lot of people in the town where I live that own Glocks, and Glock switches are not a problem here. So what's the difference? Is it the Glocks? I don't think so. But I want to know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments. I try to answer every comment. It's gotten a little bit overwhelming lately, but I do put in the effort. I try to get to at least as many as I can every night after work. But other than that, make sure you hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. Share it. Make sure you subscribe to Sawtooth Tactical #1. Hit that bell notification icon. And if you do want to support the channel, I'll usually have some affiliate links down below of things that were featured in different videos that I'm, recording for you guys. And also, I will have a link. The first link in the description is for Aura. They are the sponsor of the channel, and they're a great product, a great service. I actually use it myself, and it's very affordable. You get 2 weeks free if you use my link. From Sawtooth Tactical, stay strapped or get clapped.